What's going on, Jerome's? Training camp is right around the corner, and training camp generally isn't about the stars. Like, yeah, they're important, but they're about the underdog stories, the fringe roster guys, the guys that maybe don't have a shot, but then all of a sudden they get a couple reps, they impress, and all of a sudden they make the practice squad. Maybe eventually they make the rooster. Maybe eventually they become starters. So we have 5 super sleepers for the Vikings. Now, I'm not saying that these guys are going to become Pro Bowlers. I'm not saying that they're going to become regular starters, but are they guys that could turn some heads, given some reps in training camp, joint practices, as well as preseason? Maybe make the practice squad, maybe make the rooster? Sure. And also, I forget my roster projections, so some of these guys may have gotten cut, but whatever. So here are 5 super sleepers for the Vikings. First up, cornerback John Reed, where John Reed has been around the block a little bit. He was a 2020 4th-round pick out of Penn State by the Texans. He's 5'10", a $187, 3-time All-Big Ten honorable mention, a double major, very smart kid, and just really hasn't gotten the time of day. He's played in 27 games, mostly on special teams, 3 tackles, 3 passes broken up, has started 4 games. And if you look at the Vikings cornerback room right now, I mean, only Byron Murphy Jr. is the guy that you're going to pencil in as a starter. Evans has looked good, had some run with the ones. Mekhi Blackman getting some run with the ones as well. But beyond that, Booth, Barnes, Williams, Tay Gowan, John Reed, the 3 UDFAs, all up in that mix. And would it shock me at all if Reed makes it as a practice squad player? Probably not. So we'll go from there. Next up, super sleeper number 4 for the Vikings. Linebacker William Kwenkeu. Now, I love Kwenkeu in camp last year. He's a 2022 UDFA out of Temple, 6'1", 235, played 121 snaps over 7 games last year. And also, he came in as a UDFA tryout, which, again, we said ad nauseum, where if guys can impress at rookie camp and then get signed to the 90, that gives them an edge because coaches have already seen them, evaluators already seen them, and all of a sudden they're getting some more run and some more love versus some of the other guys on the roster. Also, they did add Kwenkeu to the active roster towards the end of the season. Could have been an issue of maybe some teams sniffing around, trying to get the pride of Temple. Owls, that's right. And also, if you look at the Vikings off-ball linebacker situation, Asamoah, Hicks, Dye, Reeder, yes, you have Ivan Pace Jr. in that mix too, but Kwenkeu could be all up in there. Kwenkeu could make a little bit of an impression on Kwesi and O'Connell and Brian Flores. He's already done enough to secure himself a practice squad spot and a roster spot last year. So I think that it's a spot where Kwenkeu could grow and show, clicking the wrong buttons here, and eventually maybe work his way in. Maybe he does become one of the backup off-ball linebackers. Maybe he does become a special teams regular, etc. Next up, super sleeper number 3 for the Vikings. Center Josh Soko. That's right. Where Josh Soko is such a sleeper, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, which is rare for an NFL player. But 2022 UDFA out of Sacred Hat, 6'3", 290. I was on the practice squad all last season. And if you watch some of the players, especially the offensive linemen's social media, like Soko's always around. Like Soko seems to be like the little brother that the entire offensive line room seems to like. But has good base, has good movement skills. Given his limited run in preseason, hasn't taken a regular season snap yet. But if you look at the offensive line room, I mean, who's really going to be that guy long-term that's going to back up Garrett Bradbury? Who's going to be the guy that could take over for Garrett Bradbury if he doesn't continue on that upward trajectory of his potential from last year? Schlutman is fine, but could Soko be that guy? Could Alan Ali, the UDFA TCU, do a little something as well? But I do like Soko, and it does seem like the team does like him as well since he was on the practice squad all last season. So we'll see. Next up, super sleeper number 2 for the Vikings. Wide receiver, Thayer Thomas. Ooh, hold on. Wide receiver / punt returner, Thayer Thomas. Come on, man. Zoom in and enhance. So 2023 UDFA, 6 foot, a $195, second all-time on the Wolfpack receiving list. Worked mainly from the slot for NC State, and he made a couple plays working with the twos at OTAs. Also has numerous punt return skills, and it could be a spot where he gets some run in training camp and preseason, and maybe he supplants Jalen Rager or Brandon Powell, who took the majority of punt return reps at minicamp. But I mean, Thayer Thomas is really interesting, man. I think the Vikings have two super interesting UDFA wide receivers in Malik Knowles and Thayer Thomas. I think both of them could make some noise, especially given their special team skills. Malik Knowles is a great kick returner, even though he's been injured throughout OTAs and minicamp. Training camp, hopefully he'll be able to show up what he's got. But, I mean, Thayer Thomas could fill an interesting role and a niche as a special teamer, practice squad guy, and then eventually work his way up. And then lastly, super sleeper number 5 for the Vikings, edge rusher Luiji Vilain. Now, I'm pretty hyped about Vilain, where he made the 53-man rooster last year as a UDFA, coming out of Wake Forest. He was originally at Michigan, did play in 3 games, and his senior season at Wake Forest in 2021 did post 8 sacks. But he came in, he has the physical tools, but was raw. But great quickness, great motor as well, a natural stand-up outside linebacker, which is great for the scheme. And whatever happens with Daniil happens with Daniil. Davenport's on a 1-year deal. Wanham is in a contract year. Patrick Jones second is heading to year 3, expecting big things out of him. Andre Carter the second, he's hyped as a UDFA, but still a UDFA, and he's got to prove it to make a spot on this team. And Vilain, like we said, 53-man rooster all last season as a UDFA because the Vikings were afraid about trying to sneak him down to the practice squad initially. So it could be a spot where a guy has a year to marinate, a redshirt year as it were, and then all of a sudden is able to do a little something in the rotation and just get after him. So pretty hyped about Vilain. And overall, I mean, it's really easy to root for the bottom of the roster guys because Kwenkeu has done a very good job at supplementing the bottom end of the roster, where they're not players that are, you could be like, I mean, some guys you see on the roster like that guy has no shot, but they all have tools, and it's always what can they do versus what can't they do. Can this guy specifically fill a spot on the practice squad, a guy that you can call up for a game or 2 throughout the season? Yes. Can he be a 53-man roster guy? Can he be a capable backup as well play some good special teams? Yes. I mean, that certainly has value, and then Kwenkeu has done a really good job of making it really competitive because, I mean, these 5 guys from the bottom of the roster, middle of the roster, I mean, you can pick out traits and specific things about them that you can really like, and they certainly will have an opportunity to grow and show in training camp preseason. So super hyped. Can we just have training camp now? Screw July 29th. How about June 29th? Start training camp. Woo. That's right, man. But that's it. 5 super sleepers for the Minnesota Vikings this year. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.